Ruud shot Azizam. You see, they hated you. You see, they were terrified of the fighter in you. They tried to control you even when you were inside of the womb. A beautiful Persian woman, the spark that will brighten the room. Your name is Mahsa, so you resemble the light of the moon. You represent power, and that is why the government's scared. These religious pussies afraid of you, so they cover your hair. They're shooting down their own planes, flying up in the air. Since 1979, they never suffer for years. Symbolize all the pain of our people and the resilience. Daughter of Queen Atusa, the sister of 80 million. Murdered by dirty mullahs, these pseudo-Muslim reptilians. Occupying a nation and torturing its civilians. Everybody's in shock, but these pigs are happily eating. They try to cover their tracks and deny it after the beatings. Social media shows your entire family grieving. So let us honor your name, rest in power, Mahsa Amini. So when the Ayatollahs are gone, you'll have the last laugh. Promise that this is more than a trend or a hashtag. Not for these influencers to use you as a cash grab. I'm on your pictures everywhere from New York to Mashhad. Mahsa Amini, you are a warrior queen. Mahsa Amini, you are why I wake up and do this. Mahsa Amini, you are the ink to my pen. Mahsa Amini, say your name. 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 Mahsa Amini. I had a vision that we'd be free from religions that kept us in these conditions, that kept our people in prisons, that tried to kill our traditions and reputations, diminish and damage unto our image, betrayal and the divisions. More than 1 million Persians live in America, 250,000 immigrated to Canada, hundreds of thousands in Europe, even Australia, going over 4 million all across the diaspora. Yeah. Run away from their homes, run away from the motherland, start a life on their own. Start a life for the children and having a little hope, so they won't be executed for what they decide to show. I don't really know what the fuck can I do, cause I live in America and I'm writing this in my room. And I never had to experience what you are going through, so I thought I could use my privilege and give my power to you.
For those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people, and so long as men die, liberty will never perish. In you, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Yeruzakhul miyad.
All right, I got my Persian tea ready to go. It's a very special episode today, y'all. If you heard episode 82 in the open, I talked about what's been happening in Iran, my motherland. I personally have not been back to Iran in 30 years. I was born in Iran, and I left Iran at the age of 8 years old. If you guys follow me locally here in Sacramento, I'm a comedian out here, as you know. Follow me, by the way, Pej the Maniac on all socials. Subscribe to my podcast, pHumblepodcast. But as you know, Iran is in turmoil right now. There are innocent lives being lost by these bullies called the government. They've had a chokehold on that country, on the people, for 43 years. And it's 43 years too long. And they got into power all based off of lies and trickery. And they've been brainwashing the old, but the young is the future of that country and of the world. And they're stepping up, and they've had enough. And especially the women. As you guys know, Mahsa Amini's name has been plastered all over social media, all over Twitter, all over Instagram. TikTok, YouTube, as it should be, and we're just getting started. But I got a talented Iranian musician, rapper, hip-hop artist, who we were just talking about, has just moved to Los Angeles area from Connecticut, but he's come out with a song, and it's called For Mahsa Amini, and I have that in the open of this episode that you guys just heard, and I wanted to bring him on to shed light on being an Iranian in America, both East Coast and West Coast, and then I wanted to get into some possible ways and solutions that us Iranians outside of Iran, how we can help and how just humanity can help humanity, because it's bigger than just Persians, you know. And it's a long intro I'm giving, I know, but this can help many countries that are oppressed. Ukraine. This can help Iran, obviously, Afghanistan. It can help Pakistan. It can help all the countries, Syria. It can help, and I apologize if I'm missing some of the country names. Many countries in Africa too, by the way. It's just at this present moment, Iran is on fire, and we hope this fire does not get tamed until that government is out. Okay, that's the whole point of this.
Amen.
I'm a comic, as you know, and but this episode is, there will be some jokes in here and there, but the real purpose of this episode is to enlighten the audience on what's really going on and what we can do to help. With all of that long intro, I give you Shaheen Samadi. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Thank you for having me, bro. How's it going?
Hey, it's going well. You were telling me before we got on that you lived in Connecticut and New York is home to you, New York area. Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was born and raised in Connecticut. Spent 28 years of my life there. I'm 28 years old now. So even though, like, I like the West Coast, I moved out here in January to connect with my, Persians, and build my fan base that way. Because even before I moved out to LA, I've noticed that most of my following, as I was making more and more songs, were Iranian. So it made sense for me. Like, okay, well, let me just go to where all the Iranians are, LA, right? So now, but I was, like I said before, the East Coast will always have a part of my heart. I mean, like New York City, I used to go there a few times a month, and it was just, I had like some of the best memories of my life over there, man. But believe it or not, there is a Persian community like in New York. There's a Persian community in Connecticut. Not as big as LA, obviously, but it's there. You know what I mean? Like, we had our Nowruz events, we had our Yalda events. Then it was very like unifying, you know?
So you were born in Connecticut, as you said. So that's what's up. Have you ever been to Iran?
Oh yeah, man, many times.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, man. I think first time I went there, I was probably like 6 months old, and then last time I was there, I was 22, so 2016, and I haven't been back since for like because that's when like my music started to get all like political / cultural. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Hey, you're spitting truth, and again, for Mahsa Amini, Shaheen's new song that's been out, it's been blowing up on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram. Myself, I've reshared it a bunch of times.
Thank you.
Of course, man. It's the message in it, you know. Say her name, like that. That's so powerful, bro. Like that line alone, just say her name, you know. Mahsa Amini, for people of non-Persian descent, this is our George Floyd. This is literally our George Floyd. This is what's happening in Iran. And by the way, if you guys follow me, you know that I went crazy over George Floyd. I plastered everything because yes, Shaheen and I are Persian, but we're human beings, man. And it's about more than just being Iranians. It's about being good human beings and not forgetting, you know, like not letting these borders confuse us, right? Borders are fake. Borders have been made up by man, by humanity, and I say man because it was made by man. It's women now that are saying, you know, fuck that. we're done listening to dictators, listening to totalitarians, listening to bullies, basically is what it is. And Shaheen is doing his part. He's moved to LA, where he's gonna find a lot of Persians at every corner. Everybody knows I'm in Sacramento. There's a big Persian community up here as well, all up and down Cali, really. But I grew up in Maryland, so there's a lot of Persians out there too, you know. So I can connect to you.
Oh shit, yeah, in DC, like the DC area,
man, DMV. Yeah, there's a lot of Iranians there. And at the time of this episode releasing, there's been a bunch of protests, peaceful protests in America. San Francisco being one, which would have been a few days ago, October 1st. There's the big one in LA, which Shaheen, I'm sure, is going to, tomorrow, which would be 3 days ago. This episode right now, it's Tuesday, but for all intents and purposes. But anyway, I just want to, I want to talk about your song. How, like, first of all, when you heard about Mahsa's, being murdered by the bullshit ass morality police, and how did
Yeah.
how did all how did that come to fruition, and how did you get into getting on the mic?
Oh man, like I mean, at first, like it's the same. Like, oh my god, like how can they do that to like just for showing a piece of hair? At the same time, it's like me and you, like tragically, like we're used to seeing that, right? Like
Yeah.
this Massa isn't the first story we heard. You remember Neda
Of
from
course.
2009?
That's right.
Like remember, and like I don't know about your family, but like I feel like most moms who immigrated to the diaspora, they've had their stories with the morality police. They've had their problems with these revolutionary guards. So these stories, unfortunately, like so when I saw Massa, like it didn't shock me, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so common, and
Yeah.
um, but it still pissed me off nonetheless, because like why? And I think what got me was like the parents. When I saw her mom screaming at the hospital, when I saw her mom like crying in her grave, like that like can I cuss in this? Like,
Please cuss, man. Please.
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah, man, like that fucked me up.
Yeah.
And I was pleased to see people on social media actually talk about it for once. And I've been talking about these things for a long time. I promise I'm not saying that to be like a hippie, like I was doing this before it was cool.
No,
But like there were stories where like I remember I talked about years ago where there was this girl who lit herself on fire because she was about to go to jail. Like literally, she was sentenced to prison for sneaking into a soccer game. Why? Because women in Iran are not allowed to go to a soccer game. So she I guess like she dressed as a boy or something. I guess like, and people do that over there.
Yeah.
And then they caught her. And she had to go to court for it. Like what a waste of tax dollars, bro. You have to go to court, like for the, and then they sentenced her. I don't know if it was I think it was like 3 months or 3 years. It was like, and she's like, you know what? Fuck that. And she took her own life.
I know.
And that there's other stories where like you have like these girls, and by the way, since 1979 child marriage has become legal again.
Listen to that, y'all. Tell them.
Yeah, so like child marriage has become legal again. So like these families in these rural areas would like who are like living in poverty would sell, like, I mean, I hate to say sell, but that's ultimately what you're doing. It's like you're selling your child to another man, to an like adult man, and the family does get paid. Like that's kind of like how it works in those in that specific tradition.
Right.
And they grow up, they get raped by their husbands. And I remember there was this story where this girl like eventually like she killed her rapist, aka her quote unquote husband.
Yeah.
And
good riddance, to be honest. Yeah.
Good riddance, but she got executed for it. She got arrested. There was a bullshit trial, bullshit lawyers, bullshit judicial system, and they killed her. They hung her.
Yeah.
And so like these like so when Massa happened, I told people, look, she isn't the first, and unfortunately she isn't the last. But like,
listen, yeah, this is the grim reality that we're talking about. It's been 43 years of this shit, okay? This entire regime came in. First of all, I need to clarify. Everybody who knows me personally knows I don't have an ounce of political blood. I am not political by any means, right? I'm not speaking for Shaheen. I'm just speaking for myself. For me, I'm not a political person. What I am is a humanitarian, if I can speak English properly. I'm a humanitarian, and I approach every day with love, because that's all I know. That's all I can give. I was privileged, and I say privileged because it is true. I was privileged to move to this country at the age of 8 years old. I didn't see the shit that people are dealing with right now, okay? My memory of Iran is innocent, right? I saw things even at a young age, as a child. I remember they closed my to be completely transparent, my family's Baha'i, right? So Right. So you already know. See, Shaheen knows what that's all about. Because there's religious persecution. If you're not Muslim, you're against the government, essentially. And the Baha'i faith, especially, they're not even accepted as law-abiding citizens, natural citizens in Iran. To give you a comparison, essentially, you can look at Baha'is in Iran as the Jews were looked at in Germany during World War II. During the Hitler era. So just to give you, and I've had extended family who were martyred for their beliefs. My mom has gone to prison for a year with her mom, my grandmother, together. They beat my grandmother's feet in front of my mom to make her recant, to say she's not a Baha'i and that she's Muslim. And my grandma, and this is so powerful, God rest her soul, my grandmother looked at my mom while being beat and told my mom, if you recant, you're no longer my daughter. Like, that's some powerful shit, bro. Yeah. So my grandmother endured that to show her faith. Now, everybody knows I don't consider myself a religious person. I was born in the Baha'i faith. I still, I still carry my Baha'i card, but I'm not religious. And people think I'm anti-religion. No. What I mean by that is I'm a spiritual person and I'm a human being first, just like Shaheen is a human being first, just like my neighbors over here down the street. It's about empathy right now. It's about understanding and putting ourselves in the other people's shoes. Listen, we're all in America right now talking. People listening, most of my audience are in America. Some are in Canada, some are international. Point of it, though, is the fact that in free countries like the United States and Canada and other first world countries, we have the privilege of being free, okay? And freedom, by the way, even here is not really free, but
subjective.
Subjective, exactly. The black community has suffered centuries in this country.
Exactly.
Hispanics,
and they still do.
Exactly, and they still do. During 9/11, a lot of the brown people like myself were subjected to racism, to hatred. So everybody knows all of that. The point of the point that I'm trying to make, though, is you guys have seen my stories. Follow Shaheen, by the way. Plug your channels so people can follow you and keep
Absolutely.
up with your stories. Go ahead.
No, man, absolutely no. I'm with everything you're saying, and that story that you were sharing about your grandmother and mom just gave me fucking chills, man. Like, Jesus Christ,
yeah. I wasn't born yet when that happened. My mom was released in late '84, and then my mom and dad had me in '85, but I was born in December of '85. But my sister was alive, man. My sister was alive. She was she was without our mom for a year. Like, she was like 3. Maybe, or 4 years old. My dad was taking care of her while my mom was in prison. You know what I mean?
So why, if I may ask, if that's cool with you, because it's like a very personal story.
No, go ahead.
Is your father Baha'i as well?
Yeah.
How come, just so I'm just out of curiosity, how come they went after your mom but not your father?
So they went. I can't tell you the process and how these fucking idiots make their decisions.
Right, of course.
But what I can say is I think at the time, my mom and my grandmother were at my grandmother's residency. And when they broke in, and by the way,
I was just wrong place at the wrong time.
I'm assuming, and I'd have to bring my mom and dad are in Iran right now, actually, as we speak. And I've spoken with them. There's confirmation that they're okay. They've been staying inside. It's the elderly shouldn't be in the streets right now anyway. It's the younger crowd. The elderly, their safety is important. We need that young energy to storm the streets and continue.
But let's also give a shout out to the older people who are there anyway.
Of
course.
They
don't give a fuck. Like, they're just out there. I'm seeing people's like in their 90s, like walking around, like ripping that hijab off their face.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even though I would rather them be safe and stay home, still, like, I gotta like commend their bravery.
100%. 100%. No, man, I'm so proud of our people right now. it's easy for me to sit here in Sacramento and just applaud them. We're
Right.
not even close to knowing what's really happening over there, right? You guys have seen the videos. They're graphic. They're not they're not for younger eyes. But
No.
it's being shared to wake the people up to realize a free Iran means a free Middle East, essentially, because there's so much power in Iran's government right now. And once that's taken away, see how quickly Afghanistan is going to step up. See how quickly Pakistan, all the oppressed countries around Iran, it's so much bigger. I do want to shift back though and talk about, and I have it right here, Shervin Hajipur. Okay, he's another artist in Iran. Okay, he's another artist. He took a bunch of tweets from
Made it into a song.
and made it into a song. It was so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
He is currently detained, and they made him take his song down after he like crossed 40 million streams, 40 million views. So spread his song. It's on my story. Take it, share it. They cannot shut us up. They're trying, okay, and they're gonna try more. They're gonna get desperate. They're gonna do everything they can to shut off the truth. But it's up to us to keep it going. Now, I just wanted to give a shout out to Shervin, and I hope he's safe, and I hope that he makes it out of that, God willing, alive. Now, back to your song. So you wrote, you were touched by Mahsa's mom in the hospital screaming, and then by her grave, and then you got inspired to write that song and release it.
Yeah, like one of my favorite songs by like Farsi rap is this song by Hichcast called Ye Roz Khub Miyad, like a good day is, which translates to a good day is coming.
Yeah.
And I realized, and this is one thing I've been doing for years, is that like in the Iranian diaspora community, we don't have like that English voice. Like I noticed like all of our activisms in Farsi, all of our music that we listen to, like if you listen to Iranian music, it's always in Farsi, which makes sense. But I've been a fan of hip hop for years, and as a creator myself, so I wanted to just try and attempt to like, I don't know if I can speak for the people of Iran because I don't live there, even though I'm Iranian descent. But it was like I need to do like I was like, at least in the diaspora, we need that English voice. And plus it's not like Iranians in Iran can't speak English. I feel like most of them can actually speak English. So, I was hoping that when I put the song out, it would be healing. You know what I mean? Especially to rap over a song like that. And it was like my way of hope. And I hope the message conveyed. It was like, I'm with you. Like, I love you. I love you to death. Like, you guys are the reason for my existence. Like, you are the ink to my pen. You're the reason why I wake up and do this. Mahsa Amini, and not just Mahsa Amini, but Navida Afkari, who was a wrestler 2 years ago, who was executed for, because why? Because he went to a protest and that was it. And what happened was they lied and they accused him of murdering someone with a knife, but that's just to like scare people. You know what I mean? Like they did that as a scare tactic. Obviously he didn't kill anyone, but yeah, it was just, propaganda, and they killed him. And, unfortunately, I've been talking about this for a long time. And it's just, I was at UCLA like a week ago. There was a candlelight vigil, and before, they asked me to recite my Mahsa song, so I did. But before
I saw the video. Is that the video you posted?
That is,
yeah. That's what's up. And
before I did that, I gave like a little talk, and I was like, guys, I don't want to do this again. And by do this again, I mean like create another vigil for another Mahsa. Right. I don't want to have to do that. Like, I don't want to have to come to the federal building every other Friday to protest the animosity, the evils of because I want this government gone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's not just me. You guys want them gone. The 80 million people in Iran want them gone. But we have to change the way we go about things. Because I remember I used to go to these rallies, and it was just like, with all due respect, people who are like quite older, who might be out of touch with younger activism, and they're just shouting in Farsi like "Mag bar Khamenei, Mag bar dictator," like Reza Shah, Ruiz Shah, which all cool, of course, but like it's. You have to do something different. You have to build those allies. You have, you know what I mean? And this time, and I think that's what we're doing differently, and that's why this is working. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because now the Western feminist movement in America, they have an incentive to help. Because look, and I was telling people this for years. I said, the liberation of Iran should be a progressive liberal movement. Right. Like, don't let, I don't know where your political leanings are, but like, don't let these hardcore right-wing Trump activists like hijack this issue and make this an issue about going to war with Iran. Yeah. Obviously, that's not what we want. This should be a liberal issue. Yeah. Women being killed for not wearing a piece of fabric on their head, that goes against every liberal principle I can think of. And it also, it's a chance to build with like the LGBTQ community. It's bro, they literally execute gay people. Like it's a crime punishable by death. So it's like now,
yeah. And sorry to interrupt, man. I just want to mention, because you said they execute anything that doesn't follow their agenda, their bullying agenda, and I say because it has nothing to do. Now, people have their opinions on religions. Okay, I'm not here to, and I don't think you are also. I don't think neither of us are here to argue about which religion is the right. That's not my point. Like I told you earlier, I'm not religious. That's not the purpose of this. But not just this government of Iran, all the terroristic governments that are using Islam for a different agenda, right? And I'm not Muslim and I'm saying this, okay? It's actually ruined it for the good people of Islam. It's really ruined it for good people, Islam. And
sure.
And I know a lot of people a lot of Iranians are Muslim, a lot of Iranians are Christian. There's all types of, all religions that most people follow in the West, also in Iran, there is the same. But the problem is this government has put a stamp on anybody non-Muslim to be against the system, which is idiotic to think of.
I mean, even people who are Muslim, I mean, like
even Muslims,
they're being killed too. You know what I mean? Like it's
because basically being a liberal is anti this government is basically what it is, and they've had their chokehold on it for years. That's what I wanted to mention. And sorry, you had flow, you had rhythm, which is suiting because that's what you do. But but you know what I mean. Good, it's just.
I also want to mention one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, this is a fight for our women. This is a fight for our brothers and their children, human rights, of course. But you understand, and in case your audience doesn't know, like we Persians or /Iranians, I use the terms interchangeably. Yeah. We are very proud people of our heritage and our culture. And this is not only a fight for human rights, which is extremely important, but this is also a fight for our cultural identity. For 43 years, these people have been pushing a culture that's just not compatible. Yes, a majority, I would say like a good big portion of Iran, like they're Muslim now. Yep. True. But it's like all of our traditions, our entire value system comes from a religion that comes before Islam. And this isn't me saying one is better than the other, but I'm saying like as Persians, our culture is just rooted in ancient Zoroastrianism. And again, that's not me pushing, the Zoroastrian gods and Ahura Mazda on you, even though I'm wearing the chain, but even the chain, the farvahar that a lot of Iranians wear, people don't even wear it for religious purposes. It's a symbol of national pride, which shows that like how much of our culture just came from that religion. Nowruz, which is the New Year, Yalda, all these things came from that religion. So to come out here and did you know they try to do this? Like when they first took over 43 years ago, they try to ban Nowruz. They try to outlaw Yalda. They try to make singing and dancing illegal. Actually, it's still technically illegal, but people can get a little bit away with it nowadays. But
they're about to get away with all of it because I can't wait. The people are dancing right now with their veils off. So fucking powerful. There was a woman. There's a video ruminating. She took off her scarf, threw it in the fire. Women in Iran right now, if you haven't seen, which I'm sure most of you have seen by now, they're burning their scarves. Okay. Now, this is not an anti-scarf movement. People need to understand. It's just about being your body, your choice. We say that in America all the time. Some women are liberal and choose to keep their scarves on. More power to you. Okay.
You mean they're conservative, right? Like the more conservative.
I'm saying
crowd.
they're conservative, but they're not pushing their agenda on other people.
Yeah.
Like it's their choice, and they choose without interfering with other people's choices to just keep their scarf on. God bless you. You know what I mean? Like that's not what we're arguing here, man. What we're fighting for is everybody to have that same choice, and it's okay. You one shoe doesn't fit all, man. So one size doesn't fit all. So you're right. Islam relative to Iran's history is a very small snippet because and again, this government's agenda doesn't even fall in line with Islam. Right? It's very loosely just they use the Quran, or the Quran as is pronounced here, and they use it to just manipulate people and lie. My Zoroastrianism, man, listen, that religion dates back. You might know the date better than I do, but
it's debated. You know what I mean? Like I feel like scholars haven't like confirmed the date. You know what I mean? I think some people say like 1,000 or 2,000 years before Christ, even. You know? So,
I mean, Iran itself is like 5,000 years old. Okay, as far as going back to when it first became Persian Empire, and and then the history all the way till today. Islam is like 1,400 and some change years old. So that gives you perspective as far as what is really Iran. Okay. Again, nothing against any religion. It's not about the religion. I just want to make sure, because this podcast is about togetherness. This podcast is about love. This podcast is about all brothers and sisters from all and everything in between, from all colors, all sizes, all shapes. I love you all, man. And I've had many people from different races come on here and talk about their experience. And so I just needed to dedicate this time to an important topic, because yes, I'm Persian, but again, it's bigger than that. I could talk to you all day about this, and I'd love you to come back on at any time. I want to get into your story that you shared about a friend who's a former military member who was in Afghanistan and talked to you about what is needed for the regime to change successfully. So and I want you to plug your channels so people can follow you.
Absolutely. I'll send you all the links. Absolutely.
You can and you can say it now, like at least your Instagram, so people know to follow you. What you're
sure, man. My Instagram handle. I mean, that Instagram is the platform that I'm most active on. You can also find me on TikTok, but Instagram is also like where I'm most active on. So it's at SHAHEEN.SAMADI. So Shaheen.Samadi. So I'm going to continue posting about Iran. That's where you can also check out my music. And I mean, a lot of my music is always inspired by what's happening in Iran. But also, I mean, and it's not even always political too. Like even the stuff that I get into, like with my personal life, like there's always like a Persian element like sprinkled into it. You know what I mean? Because it's such a big part of my life.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, you wanted to talk about that.
Let's finish on this, because this is actually it calls to action, and I want you to discuss it. So you have a friend who was in the military in Afghanistan, and so talk about that. What did he suggest?
So without I'm not going to say who he was, but he was in the American military, served in Afghanistan, served in other places as well. He's had a pretty top position. And he's been involved in interesting things I can't say, but he basically, he's also a big student of history, and he studied empires, he studied nations and cultures, and he's like, and throughout history, in order for regimes to change, right? There's ultimately there's three pillars to it. One, there has to be a leader, like a symbol, right? A symbol you get behind. Two, there has to be like the people are they have to be willing to risk their lives and go out and basically get violent,
Yeah.
right? It's
Well,
and then
it's
also,
self-defense, to be honest. Like, they're not
yeah,
pretending to be violent, but if the military,
no,
or,
no, but
right,
they
it's,
have to be willing to risk their lives, which I know it sucks saying that because we're
yeah,
in America and we're like, yeah, guys, go do it. And
yeah,
while I'm here eating my popcorn on this podcast, but you know what I mean? But no, like, but it's, but the second stage, I'm sorry, the third thing is international pressure,
mm-hmm,
which basically means no nuclear deal,
mm-hmm,
no shaking hands,
mm-hmm.
no, no trades, no nothing. Do not normalize this government. And look, I used to be one of those guys. I don't know about you, but I used to be one of those guys where I was like, yo, like, I'm so happy like Obama signed this nuclear deal.
Right,
Now Iran and America will never go to war again.
yeah,
And I was also very angry when Trump ripped it up.
yep,
I was very angry when Trump killed, the Iranian general.
mm-hmm,
Not because I like the Iranian general. I mean, like, good riddance, right?
yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, yo, I don't want war,
mm-hmm,
and it's a terrifying thought of like a powerful country like America with like the military superpower it is going to war, and with a country with like where my family's still living. Like, that's not what we want, of course. But at the same time, at this point, at this moment, we have, they have crossed the line. There is no going back. No, like, and that's why that's the purpose of tomorrow's rally. So I know it's going to be Tuesday by the time you guys listen to this, but I hope that by the time you guys are listening to this, that protest that I'm going to tomorrow, Saturday, October 1st, you're going to hear it on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, BBC, whatever that exists, because the purpose of this is two things. One, to show our brothers and sisters where we are with you. ما با شما هستیم. خب. And two, and I think this is the most important part, pressure politicians. No deal, no handshakes, do not do anything. That doesn't mean I want war, but I'm just saying, like, no nuclear deal, nothing. We do not recognize these people. And this is just something I want to throw in there. Let's stop calling them the Iranian government, because there's nothing Iranian about these motherfuckers. They are the Islamic Republic. And when I say the Islamic Republic, I'm not saying they are Islam. No, I'm saying they are the Islamic Republic. They have been occupying our motherland for 43 years, bro. I've heard the horror stories. You've seen it. Your mother has seen it. My mother has seen it. My uncles have seen it. And it's there's nothing Iranian about this. There's nothing Iranian about shooting your own people. There's nothing Iranian about killing women for showing a little piece of hair. Ooh. You know what I mean? Like, there was this fucking girl yesterday. And when I say fucking girl, like, I don't mean that derogatory. I'm just angry. But there was this girl. Yeah, but there was this girl yesterday, and her. I'm sure you've seen the picture. She's eating breakfast at a restaurant without a hijab on.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so scary. And she got arrested for it.
Mm-hmm.
Her close friend reached out to me and like asked me to spread her picture around. So I got permission to do that, so I did.
Yeah.
But why? For eating breakfast? Is that what it, honestly, look, the regime has always been bad. Mm-hmm. We've known this. Mm-hmm. But they're desperate now.
Yeah.
If that means something is happening. If they're arresting people for eating breakfast,
yes.
If this guy Shervin, who's in jail now,
yeah,
his song wasn't even like, he didn't say it probably had political things, but he didn't say anything against the government, right? Specifically, he was just like
he was singing tweets.
He was singing
tweets, man. It's just he just added melody to it. That's all it was. But it's a great song, by the way, and it's being circulated. This girl you said that was eating breakfast, send that to me, and I will also share it on my story, because we got to get this
Absolutely.
out. We have to.
Her name is Donia. And,
Donia, which means world, by the way, guys. Donia means world, which is very ironic. the world needs to help Donya and everybody. You know, the world.
Absolutely.
We need the world right now, guys. The world is watching. There's protests all over internationally, not just in the States or Canada. There's protests in Germany, in France. I've seen these in Israel, bro. Israel is saluting the women of Iran right now. Israel women
I've
are
seen that.
yeah, it's beautiful because Israel and Iran don't have to be enemies. It's all bullshit, right? It's the governments. It's both governments, okay? It's both governments dictating. Palestine and Israel don't have to be enemies. It's all the government, guys. Don't get it twisted. It's just propaganda to get people to hate. It's brainwashing that, thank God for social media, it's going to break away all that. We're filtering out all the bullshit, and the truth is what's being left up top. Shaheen is helping. I'm helping. Millions and millions of people are helping to expose the truth. And then that's only the first step. Like Shaheen said, we need a leader. Right now, the former prince of Iran, the long-lived queen of Pahlavi's wife, Farah, she's mentioned that she's open to going back to Iran. These are all
possibilities.
The prince is a possibility. I'm not saying he's got to be the one. I'm just saying,
look,
hell of a lot better than what we have right now.
Oh, of course. I also think, I mean, I you said you're not a political guy. I don't want to get too political on your show, but I think there's been a recent trend in the West amongst like Western liberal diaspora. Again, I'm a liberal, which is like the irony, but like,
define diaspora for people like myself who's
diaspora. Like, so like, if you're Iranian diaspora, it means you're an Iranian who lives outside of Iran.
Got it.
So that's what it means. So it's been a trend recently to kind of criticize the Shah and say, oh, the Shah was a dictator too. And I'm not saying the Shah was perfect by any means, but
he wasn't. Yeah.
But the Pahlavi dynasty, both him and his father have done a lot for the country, man. And you can't just sit there and compare him to Khomeini. You also should compare him to the dynasties before. And this is like where doing a little research helps. Like research the Qajar dynasty and how bad it was, women walking around in burqas.
Yeah.
They were arguably worse than the IRI now. Right. You know what I mean? The Qajars. And we were like, our people at that time were illiterate. We were not industrialized. We were tribal, and these Pahlavis came and they fixed all of that. Was there a little bit of corruption? Probably, as is there with every nation in the world. Let's be real, including the United States. And
there is no perfect government, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to break it to you. There's not one single government that's perfect. Okay. But continue. But everyone.
No,
knows
I just think, and I mean, like there were like. People like to point to the 1953 coup d'état, and historical events like that. But again, that shouldn't have happened. But people make it out to seem like, oh, that was the reason why the revolution happened. No, like you know what I mean. And I think like sometimes it's like this misinformation that people might read about it on a tweet or TikTok, and then everyone's like, oh, I'm woke now. I'm literate. Like I know, and I think like this divides people, unfortunately, but. We can argue about possible leaders after. Right. I think right now the goal is let's put pressure, let's keep fighting. Yeah. Personally, and this is just my opinion. I like the idea of the Shah's son going back and taking the throne. I think it has like this very Lion King Simba coming back to Pride Rock. You know what I mean? Like it feels, and Iranians like you know very well. Like I'm sure you know about the Shahnameh. Like Iranians always loved like heroes and like their ancient tales of like and symbolic tales, and I just think that like the idea of the Pahlavi coming back and taking the throne back for good, kind of like Simba, like would resonate with people. Again, I don't know fully. I do hear people chanting Reza Shah, Ruhi Shah in the streets of Iran when I listen to these protests.
Reza Shah was exiled based off of lies, and back then there was no social media. And again, I'm not saying he was a perfect king. No, there was issues. I wasn't even alive, by the way. I was born in 85. This current government was already fully in place. My mom had already done time. My grandmother had already done time. My grandfather had already done time. So it was political. What's the term they call it? What's the term for imprisonment on political imprisonment? I think that's what it's called, right? I can't remember the name.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, point being though is, and I don't want to lose track of my thought. The prince, the former Prince Pahlavi, right now, the former king's son. It is like kind of like Simba going back to Pride Rock, right? But if he's gonna be Simba, then I want you and I to be Timon and Pumbaa.
Hell yeah!
I want us.
I would do it.
Yeah, I want us.
I would do it.
Yeah, I'll do the dancing like Timon. But yeah, anyway,
yeah,
I'm a goofball. Sometimes I'm an idiot. But yeah, dude, it's
man,
point being is, we're the whole purpose of this episode and next week's episode coming out. I have another surprise for you guys to continue this discussion. Again, at the time of this episode, there will have been several protests that have happened in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in Washington, D.C. They've already had one. In Canada, all over the world, there's going to be people marching for Mahsa Amini. And I just want to end this episode. And again, Shaheen, follow him. And I'll have all your socials on here.
Cool.
So that people can follow you and continue to be educated. Educate yourselves. We have an infinite amount of information online now, right? We have no reason to not know. We can get us really close to the truth, no matter how much they try to hide it. We have the power, guys. Social media is our power, and music is Shaheen's power, right? That's his way. That's his weapon. He's talked about that. And it's a weapon of mass peace, really. It's not destruction. It's actually construction, right? That's how I look at it. I just want to make mention of all the lost lives that have, as a result of these protests in Iran. I just want to give a shout out to all the names. Dude, it's I just want to, if it loads, of course it's not loading. I just want to mention that, oh, by the way, Shaheen's music, other than for Mahsa Amini, pre-save Walls. Do you have any info on when that's coming out?
Yo, Walls has been out, man, for like over a month.
Oh shit, sorry, bro.
Yes, you don't need to pre-save it anymore. Yeah, it's already there. Yeah,
I saw it on your website, and that's why it says pre-save. So my bad. Bro.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
maybe I need to go back and fix that. But no, the Walls is definitely available. So
Hawk,
if you want, Hawk Walls, yeah, man. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, any music streaming platform you can think of, YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever. So
hell yeah, man. Absolutely, check them out. I'll put the names of the martyrs over these protests in Iran. I'll put them in at the end of this episode. But dude, man, thank you for coming on, spending your evening to talk.
Thank you for having me, dude. I'm truly humbled and honored to be a part of this, and thank you for also trying to like talk about this issue, because before all this was happening, we weren't. I mean, like a lot of Iranians. They just, I don't know what it was, but like they just weren't talking about it. I don't know why, but now I'm just grateful,
I'm guilty of it, bro. I'm guilty of it. I've lived in America for 30 years. To be honest, just my habits, you could call me more westernized than Iranian. I speak Farsi fluently. I can read and write to a degree. I love my people. I just wasn't ever really as involved as I should have been. Right now, this is
time for change has come, brother.
Time for change has come, and I wanna say this: injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Everybody knows who quoted that. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. It applies more than ever right now. It applies to Iran. It applies to Ukraine. It applies to Israel, Palestine, anywhere that there is a government trying to push their people down, that they're not really for the people.
Just remember, like this, sometimes like liberals and conservatives, they get into their little arguments, and there's always nuance. There's always a little bit of truth on every side, but there's no truth. I mean, there's no nuance here.
Yes.
This is like, there is no like respectful debate between the average pro-Iran versus pro-Islamic Republic. I've tried that. Believe it or not, I have debated with their supporters. It doesn't work. No. It's crazy. Like when you go down deep into their psyche, the shit they believe. But it doesn't work. This is a fight between good and evil. It's as simple as that. There's no need to complicate it. There's no need to overthink it. It's a good versus evil. You're with us or you're against us. But I know everyone here is with us, so we're
grateful. Human. We're human. As soon as you start thinking we're all human before we are any religion or any belief or any political view, it starts to kind of take away all the bullshit because it's not real, man. It's all taught. All the hate that we have, it's learned behavior. It's based out of fear and ignorance and brainwashing by these same governments. So, on that note, Shaheen, I appreciate you for coming on. I kept you way longer than I promised. Thank you.
Man, you're good.
I love the hat too. That's dope.
Thank you, man. It says Sultan.
That's right. Sultan.
Yep.
Sultan means king. So remember that. Love everybody. Thank you for tuning into this episode. I know it's a heavy topic, but it needs to be talked about. I'm Pej the Maniac on all socials. I'm going to start posting more comedy skits again. It's just been crazy, and I've been doing my part to help with this movement. Follow Shaheen on all socials, which are on the screen. Subscribe. Give me a super like. I'll catch you guys on episode 84.
Mahsa Amini, you are a warrior queen. Mahsa Amini, you are why I wake up and do this. Mahsa Amini, you are the ink to my pen. Mahsa Amini, say your name. 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 Mahsa Amini.